So in this video, we will learn the second method to perform the hypothesis, the significant test for the individual x variable. So basically, the method we're going to see in this video can be used to replace the t-test. So the f-test still cannot be replaced. So the f-test is pretty unique. However, regarding the t-test, it can be replaced by this method called the confidence interval for partial coefficient. And so in the simple linear regression model, we saw this method already. It's called confidence interval for slope. Here, we just change the name to the partial coefficient because we have many betas. So we no longer just have one beta 1. So we have beta 1, beta 2, beta 3. So that's why we call it confidence interval for partial coefficient. So if you think about the method we're using, and you should remember that we are looking at if this interval including 0. So the 0, if the 0 included, so that means we'll have confidence to believe that beta can be 0. If the 0 is not inside this interval, that means we have confidence to believe this parameter cannot be 0. So basically, if 0 is contained in the interval, the partial coefficient is not significantly different from 0. So the corresponding variable is not significantly affect y, and then is not useful in predicting y. If 0 is not contained in the interval, the partial coefficient is significantly different from 0. So the corresponding variable is significantly affect y and is useful in predicting y. So you basically very similar idea, but we didn't now will be have more than one intervals because we have more betas. So let's look at the example together. So we still look at the Spark Club example. Make sure you have that handout ready and make sure you take a good note on that handout. Again, that handout will guide you through your homework and also your exams. And so look at the same handout we saw on your handout, the same outcome for this as a simple linear regression model, 3 tables. So look at the last table. So last in the chapter 14, the last table is where we find confidence interval for slope, and it's the same table and the last table in this regression output to allow us to find in the confidence interval for the beta 1, beta 2. So for the Spark Club, we look at the column interest and the discount amount. So that's why if you look at the last 2 columns, you can look at we have 2 rows. One row is corresponding to this row is corresponding to the add-on column interest. So this row is corresponding to the discount amount. So therefore, you will be able to see 2 confidence intervals for the partial coefficient. So the confidence interval for the partial coefficient for add-on column interest, which is here, it is between the lower 95%, 0.5423, to the upper 95%, 377. So now we look at if the 0 included or not. So obviously 0 is not included, therefore add-on column interest is significantly affect the number of new members. So look at this last row. So at the end you see the lower 95% and upper 95%. So one lower 95% is negative 0.07, the upper 95% is 0.15. Obviously the 0 is included, so therefore the discount amount will not significantly affect the number of new members. So the key here is when you perform the confidence using confidence interval of the partial coefficient to test the significance of each variable, you just need to remember that rule 0, whether 0 included or not included. So if 0 included, insignificant. If 0 is not included, it will be significant. So you can look at the answer here. So the confidence interval and for beta 1 and confidence interval for beta 2. And so the conclusion